Hi, everyone, and welcome. We are so excited to have you all today with us. So, we're going to go ahead and give everyone just a few more minutes to join. However, we are thrilled to see so many students and families already joining us from all around the country. We currently are sitting at almost 1,000 attendees already, and we are thrilled that so many of you are joining us tonight for our Linking Access, Unity, Networking, Collaboration, and Higher Education presentation with all of our universities. Like I said, we're going to give it maybe just a few seconds, but while we go ahead and get started and wait for everyone else to join us, please, you are welcome to say hello in the chat. You're welcome to say where you're joining us from. You should be able to have access to our chat to say hello. And then just please know that you also have the Q&A box. So if any of you all are excited and ready to go, please know that we will also be using the Q&A function for Q&A later on throughout the session. All right, well, with that being said, we've given it a few seconds. Thank you all for joining us. We know that our time with you all is precious. We know that you all could be doing anything else, and you've decided to take the time to come and join our session. So again, thank you so much for joining us for our launch session on behalf of Cornell University, Emory University, Pomona College, Rice University, and WashU in St. Louis. We are thrilled again to have you all with us. My name is Lupe Alfonso, and I'm an Associate Dean of Admission at Emory University, and I'm joined by my amazing colleagues who are going to go ahead and say hello as well.
Hi, everyone. My name is John Augustin, Senior Associate Director of Admission from Cornell University, located in Ithaca, New York. Great to be with you all today.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is John Fromm. I use he, him pronouns, Senior Assistant Director at WashU in St. Louis.
I'll go next. Hi, everyone. My name's Andy. I am an admissions officer at Pomona College, so thanks for joining.
Hi, everyone. My name is Aaron Mandel. I'm an Associate Director at Rice University in Houston, Texas.
All right. And so as we go through this evening's presentation, we wanted to let you know a little bit about what to expect. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start off by sharing a little bit about what launch stands for and why we are all gathered here today to share a little bit more about our colleges and universities with you. We're going to talk a little bit about our shared values and why, again, we're doing this as a group, but also some of the similarities and differences that we have as particular institutions. We're also going to review selective admission and holistic review, especially because we know that a lot of you might be hearing those buzzwords quite often, but might have some more nuanced questions that we want to address. We'll also talk about financial aid resources, as well as end with a Q&A after our school individual presentations. So with that said, I just want to give a quick reminder and again, a huge thanks again for coming out, which is to go ahead and use that chat function, say hello, go ahead and engage with us in the chat. But if you have particular questions for us, please feel free to use the Q&A function to share those questions with us. And if you have a specific question for us as individual representatives, please feel free to include the university specifically as you type out your question. With that being said, I'm going to hand it over to our next presenter.
Hi, everyone. So again, we oftentimes get this question when we're presenting, these types of programs, whether it be virtually or in person. And first and foremost, it's always, what is launch? And it is a partnership, obviously, between our 5 institutions, standing for Linking Access, Unity, Networking, Collaboration, and Higher Education. A nice short, simple acronym. I'm sure that all of you will remember after today's program. So launch partners work together as a collective, again, together with you and your family and with your counselors as well. And we're united in our commitment to support students and families in making informed decisions about applying to college. We hope that after the presentation, you'll leave today with more understanding of highly selective admissions and the substantial financial resources available to you at each of our institutions and in higher education in general. We do challenge you to think more about your college search after our time together today, and we're welcoming students just like you to our communities here in the next few months. We want to empower you to advocate for yourself in this process, and we want to give you good information to make great decisions for yourself. Hopefully, you're going to get a great education wherever you end up, even if it's not one of our 5 institutions, but hopefully today's program helps set you up for success. And as we talk about kind of our shared values, so again, all 5 of our institutions serve a wide variety of students, with access and affordability being very important to each of our institutions. We all serve a broad geographic diversity, having students from all around the world at our different institutions. We're also all common application and QuestBridge schools. So those are the 2 different application methods to which you can apply to all 5 of our institutions. And we also have a shared commitment to selective and holistic review, which again, we'll talk a little bit more about as we kind of move through the program today. But the last thing I also want to just share that's, as we talk about that access and affordability, is that all 5 of our institutions also meet 100% of a student's demonstrated financial need. So hopefully, again, making that education affordable to you and your family. And as we talk about the similarities across partners, as I mentioned before, geographic diversity, we've got national and international student populations on each of our campuses, as we have, just an incredible amount of talented and diverse student populations, bringing in some of the best and brightest students from across the world. And, the excellence of our academic programs and the opportunities within those programs, right, is really unparalleled. And hopefully, as we go through our individual college and school programs, throughout the program today, you'll find more about those as we talk about them. We all have dynamic living and learning communities, meaning that, again, your home is going to be on one of our institutions, hopefully for the next 4 years. And we want you to be comfortable there. We want you to build those communities. And hopefully, you'll find the success from those. And last, but certainly not least, experiential learning communities, so research, study abroad, all abundantly available at our institutions. And as again we jump into our college and school slides in a little bit, we'll talk more about those and how each of our schools showcase those. So with that, I will turn it over to John to talk a little bit more about differences across our schools.
Great. Thanks, John. And though our institutions do have some commonalities among them, there are differences that make us the distinct institutions that we are. And it's important that you keep these qualities in mind as you try to assess what may be a good fit for you. As we think about the 5 institutions represented this evening, you will have a variation in the size of the campus and the number of students that are there. The location in the United States also varies from coast to coast. We have representation this evening. Our type of institution, be that a liberal arts college or more of a research university. Also, we have some of our own unique academic programmings that may vary from school to school. And of course, that culture and those traditions that make each of our institutions what they are very important things to keep in mind as you were making that assessment of the different institutions. As we move into our next slide, we're going to return to one of a larger topic that we share in common, and that is our holistic approach and the fact that we are all considered selective institutions or highly selective institutions. When we talk about selective or highly selective institutions, it's important to remember that these only represent a small number of the colleges and universities that are out there. Only about 100 or so of those schools in the United States would be classified as highly selective, generally a school that's able to admit less than 20, 25, or 30% of their students. And what that means is that we have a smaller incoming class relative to the volume of applications that we receive, which essentially requires us to practice what is known as holistic admission. So all of our institutions do practice this, and this is taking every aspect of your application, all of those different components, and trying to understand who are you as the individual that you are, looking beyond a specific test score or GPA. We are not in the business to just admit students. We are admitting community members, students who are going to be roommates, lab partners, friends, teammates, those people that you see in the dining halls every single day. So when I think about holistic review, I love to use a puzzle analogy. If you think about when you're working on a puzzle, each of those individual pieces is important to creating that final picture, that final image roughly of who you are. but no individual piece of your application is that whole picture. And oftentimes those are going to be working side by side and working with each other to create that image. And so when we were doing that holistic review, some of those primary components that we're going to be looking at in your application will be evaluating your various achievements and accomplishments that you've done throughout your 4 years of high school. When we are looking at your academic side of things, we're going to be looking at that within the context of your own school. So thinking about what sorts of classes are you offered? Are there any sort of advanced designations such as honors, AP courses? Are you taking those if they're available? And if so, how are you doing? We want to see that you are challenging yourself in those environments. For those of us who do consider standardized testing, that may also be a component of that academic narrative or academic side of your application. But there's also all of those qualitative pieces of your application. Your extracurriculars give us a sense of how you are filling your time outside of the classroom. And that should be everything from the traditional clubs, sports, and organizations to any family responsibilities or part-time jobs you may have. The essays and any supplemental essays or short answer responses are also very important to give us a sense of your own voice. We get to hear from you in your own words. You can tell us about your lived experiences. Your recommendation letters provide an external perspective into who you are. How do those around you view the ways that you are engaging with the world at large? And then for schools that may offer an interview as a portion of their application, that may also be a factor in that holistic review of your application. Also, things to consider when applying to college and in life in general are deadlines. Deadlines are an important fact of life. And all different schools will have a variety of different application rounds that you could apply under. So different deadlines to choose from. And there will be a variety of different types of application rounds, but some of the more common ones that you will probably be faced with or that you will see. Early decision. Early decision is a binding agreement. Students are applying earlier, and they're also filling out an affidavit stating if I'm admitted, I'm probably going to attend or I will attend this institution. So it is a great option for students who know that this school is my #1 choice. Early action is another opportunity for students to apply early, and schools that offer early action are often doing so without a binding agreement. So there are no restrictions around that other than you are applying early. You may see things such as restrictive early action where a school is binding you to apply to only one school early action. But if you come across any schools that offer that, feel free to ask them what that means to them. By far, the most common decision plan that you'll see amongst our institutions is regular decision. That's where we're receiving the majority of our applications. There is not a binding aspect to regular decision, and it's often one of the later deadlines for students. They will find out a little bit later than you may find out in an early round, but you're not locked in. You have time to weigh your options once you've received those decisions. And then, of course, there are schools out there that offer rolling admissions, as opposed to having a set deadline that you have to meet. They are accepting applications along the way and are typically able to turn around some decisions a little bit faster than some other institutions. So if you're applying under a school that offers those rolling admissions, there may be a benefit to applying early. On the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the common terms you'll hear around financial aid. Just like you will be applying to college, the financial aid process is also an application. There's a variety of terms that you may hear. When it comes to the type of approach that admissions offices are taking, you may hear words like need blind or need aware. This is in reference to how we as admissions officers are looking at your application. In a need blind environment, we are able to make our decisions without understanding or knowing if you are applying for or receiving financial aid, whereas need aware schools may have that information as a part of their review. You'll also see differences between need aid versus merit aid, which will often be stemming the difference coming from need-based is going to be demonstrated from your financial need, and merit is often awarded through various scholarship programs. That could be something that you apply for specifically. There may also be institutions that offer merit scholarships based on specific test scores or GPAs or other things that you've involved yourself in throughout high school. Now, when you are receiving your financial aid package, you'll then have a whole series of other terms that you'll have to become familiar with. Through your financial aid, you may be offered a type of loan. Loans are generally money that you'll have to repay at some point. You may be offered grants, which are essentially money for the most often that you're not having to repay, offered by a variety of schools. You may see some merit scholarships there. You may also be offered federal work study, which is an opportunity for you to work on campus once you've arrived, with the expectation that many of the proceeds from your work will go back to your tuition. Now, when you're applying for financial aid, there are two main types of forms that you'll see across our institutions and many others, known as the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, which is part of that federal student aid process, and the CSS profile offered by the College Board. Both of these forms are used by the schools to understand what your expected family contribution may be. And if you're wondering, what might that be? You don't need to go into this process having no idea. Our schools will offer, and many schools will, offer the ability to estimate your financial aid using things like a net price calculator or platforms like My Intuition. You can input various levels of information, and it will then give out a expected financial aid package, or what you may be asked to contribute to the education. But it's important to have conversations with your family. If you have a counselor available through your high school, for example, they're a great person to have conversations with. And then talking with the schools. Our financial aid counselors are available and ready whenever you are. You can talk to them before you have applied, and it is never too early to start that conversation. So even if you have filled out that estimation, that cost calculator, and you have additional questions, please feel free to utilize them and use those resources to ask those questions. At this point, we're going to transition into our individual school presentations. So I will pass it back to John. Before we get started there, just a reminder, we are utilizing the Q&A feature, and there are just over 1,500 of you. So we certainly will not be able to get to every single question that is asked. We will have our live Q&A at the end here. But if we don't get to your question, please feel free to follow up with us individually in an email. We will share our contact information at the end of this. But with that, I'll pass it back to John to learn about Cornell.
Thank you so much, John. So again, for those of you that maybe missed my introduction initially, my name is John Augustin. Super excited to be able to introduce you to Cornell University over these next 5 to 7 minutes-ish. But as you see on this slide, our university was founded by Ezra Cornell in 1865, who famously said, "I would found an institution where any person can find instruction, any study." At a time when elite universities in the Northeast were only open to the sons of the wealthier classes, Cornell opened its doors in the very beginning to any qualified individual, regardless of gender, race, nationality, religion, or socioeconomic status. This idea was considered radical at the time, and we're incredibly proud of our rich, diverse history that centers our philosophy today. Cornell is both a private university and the land-grant institution for the state of New York, and we're charged with advancing the lives and livelihoods of the state citizens through teaching, research, and public service. Our main campus is located in beautiful Ithaca, New York, which is the heart of the Finger Lakes region in New York State. Often described as one of the most beautiful college settings in America, our campus offers an abundance of opportunity to students. There are 4 state parks in our local area, as well as over 150 waterfalls, many of which are on campus. And again, the surrounding area, 5, 10, 15 minutes from campus. Ithaca is a vibrant community of about 35,000 permanent residents, hosting seasonal festivals, delicious local restaurants and coffee shops, along with a myriad of cultural and outdoor activities. When we look at Cornell today, we're proud to showcase more than 16,000 undergraduate students, with over 3,500 in our new incoming first-year class. We also have a sizable transfer population with about 500 new transfer students joining us annually, and our students come from all 50 states and over 100 different countries. 19% of our students are in their first are the first in their families to attend a four-year college, and that's a stat that we're certainly very proud of. And with those 16,000 undergraduate students, we're the largest in both the Ivy League and in this launch consortium here today. Our size gives us significant resources, and we've highlighted a few here to share with you. Starting with the academic depth and breadth, there are nearly unlimited academic opportunities at Cornell, including over 80 undergraduate majors, more than 130 minors, and 8 different admitting colleges and schools within Cornell. We have more than 4,000 courses that are offered at Cornell, which, again, to put in perspective, would take one person about 500 years to complete if they're following the traditional academic semester. 73% of our classes have fewer than 30 students. There's 19 libraries across campus. So again, always new resources and study spots to enjoy. Over 4,000 students engage in research at any given time, which again is about a quarter of our undergraduate student population. Our student support is also incredible, with 97% of our students returning for their second year. And our Cornell Health Department or office recently announced a $20 million investment to support mental health and coaching for our undergraduate students. Study abroad is also very popular here, as we support over 75 different programs annually. So again, whether you're looking to study on our main Ithaca campus, study at one of our study away options, or again, our study abroad options, there's over 75 different opportunities for you to pursue at Cornell. In applying to and choosing to attend Cornell, students will have to choose one of these colleges or schools to make their academic home, while being able to take advantage of classes and resources across the whole university. Students commonly may change their major within a college, but about 10 to 15% of our students change their college or school each year. Choosing a college or school that is the best fit for you as you plan to apply to Cornell is probably the most important thing I can share with you during the program today. At the heart of the Cornell undergraduate academic experience is the Distinguished College of Arts and Sciences, which offers half of the university's courses in its 40+ undergraduate majors. The College of Engineering and the College of Architecture, Art, and Planning are both ranked as offering some of the top undergraduate programs in the nation. The College of Agriculture and Life Sciences offers 20 programs ranging from biology to communication. Our S.C. Johnson College of Business, which include both the Dyson School of Applied Economics and Management and the Nolan School of Hotel Administration. The Unique College of Human Ecology, where students focus on contemporary human life from applied scientific, social, and design perspectives. Our School of Industrial and Labor Relations, which remains the only school in the nation devoted solely to the subject at the undergraduate level. And finally, the newest of our schools, which is the Brooks School of Public Policy, whose students learn to develop, implement, and evaluate public policy solutions to improve lives. Again, a lot of information I just threw at you, and of course, our students do more than just study at Cornell. There are over 1,200 student clubs and organizations on campus, including the Cornell Daily Sun, which has been a daily college newspaper since 1880. We have 14 honor societies, 45 music groups, and over 100 organizations dedicated to public service. Our 37 varsity teams compete at the NCAA Division I level in the Ivy League, and we've had many individual and team successes over the years. Quick shout out, of course, to our men's lacrosse team, which recently won the 2025 NCAA Men's Lacrosse Championship, the 4th title in program history. But again, if you're not looking to play D1 sports, we're also proud to boast one of the largest intramural sports programs in the nation. And also, if you're someone that loves to connect with nature, we have one of the largest outdoor exploration programs in the country as well. Outside of athletics, there are many other things for our students to do, and our Student Programming Council brings fabulous performers and speakers to campus. This is especially true for one of our signature campus traditions, Slope Day, which has roots all the way back to 1890. We've had some of the biggest names in music come and perform for our students on Live Slope. This year we had Louis the Child, and past performers include Flo Rida, Steve Aoki, Walk the Moon, Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and many, many others. Lastly, you'll enjoy living on campus, as we have several styles of residence halls to choose from. And again, the campus our students call home, this includes 5 brand new residence halls in the last 3 years. And Cornell has also been ranked as the #2 college dining program in the country by the Princeton Review. So naturally, you'll eat well while you're here too. I know that was a very quick overview about Cornell, but I hope it's been helpful to you as you learn more about our institution. And please do reach out if you have any questions, as our team is always ready to assist you in the process. And with that, I will turn it over to my colleague, Lupe from Emory University.
Thanks, everyone. Well, hello again, and thank you all so much for joining us this evening and for spending the time to listen to our group as we speak about our presentations, or our institutions, I should say. I'm Lupe Alfonso. I'm an Associate Dean of Admission at Emory University, and I'm also very proud to be an Emory University alum. I've actually been working with the institution for about 10 years, and it's truly the community, the culture of care that we have here at Emory University that has allowed me the opportunity and has been the reason why I've stayed at Emory for so long. And so I'm very excited to have the opportunity to share with you all about my alma mater. And so as we continue to the next slide, after what you've just heard, all of our colleges are similar in so many ways. But truly, one of the key distinguishers is that our universities are located in different cities and regions throughout the United States. And we are very lucky, very fortunate that Emory calls Atlanta home. And so, with nearly half of its residents from outside of Georgia, Atlanta is one of the most diverse cities in the country, with 5 major professional sports teams, a world-class international food and art scene, lush trees, parks, and active spaces like our 22-mile Beltline, which encompasses the entire city. Now, Atlanta isn't just where you go to school, it's also where your future begins. We are home to the 3rd highest number of Fortune 500 headquarters in the nation, and we provide unmatched opportunities for internships, research, and career connections. Tech hubs like Microsoft and Google have regional campuses here in Atlanta, and Coca-Cola, Delta, and the Home Depot all call Atlanta home. And with an average temperature of 57 degrees in the month of February, it's no wonder why 57 colleges, including Emory, make Atlanta their home. Now, as we continue to the next slide, something that's a little different about Emory is that while every home has a front door, Emory University is unique in the sense that we have 2 front doors where you can begin your Emory journey as a first-year student, as either part of Emory College on our Atlanta campus or at Oxford College, which is located on Emory's historic campus just 38 miles east of Atlanta in Oxford, Georgia. Now, students who begin their studies at Oxford College enter a personalized and intimate liberal arts environment that is really centered around the first 2 years of a student's undergraduate experience before transitioning to the Atlanta campus to complete their studies in their junior and senior years. Students who begin their studies at Emory College of Arts and Sciences on the Emory Atlanta campus learn and engage with a robust community of both undergraduate and graduate students in Atlanta's Druid Hills neighborhood. Now, both of Emory's campuses are academically equivalent within the first 2 years, offering a parallel curriculum with a liberal arts that's really focused within distinct environments. So both offer a world-class education, just with their own unique feel. And as we continue to the next slide, you'll get a better sense of what our 4 colleges, our 2 campuses, and our 1 Emory feel is like. So when students apply, students can choose to apply to Emory College, Oxford College, or both. And I will say that roughly about half of students do apply to both campuses. And this really gives you as a student the flexibility, the autonomy to really tell us in which campus you really see yourself thriving. It allows you to create the best pathway possible for you at Emory University. What's important is how you learn and how our 2 unique campuses allow you to do just that, right? Choose with you as the priority. At Emory College, we have roughly 5,700 undergraduates with a 96% first-year retention rate. About 79% of our classes also have less than 30 students, and we have a 9-to-1 student-to-faculty ratio. At Oxford College, we're just around 1,000 first and second-year students. Our campus, again, is comprised of first and second-year students where everyone will then continue to the Atlanta campus to graduate. Our average class size at Oxford College is also just about 17 students. Now, as juniors, students will choose between one of 3 schools to finish their degree. That is our Goizueta Business School, which is one of the top 8 undergraduate business schools in the United States, Emory College of Arts and Sciences, which houses the majority of our 80 majors and 60 minors, or our Woodruff School of Nursing, which right now is the #1 Bachelor of Nursing program in the United States. Regardless of where you begin your Emory journey, Oxford College or Emory College, all students graduate with a degree from Emory University with either a Bachelor's of Arts, Bachelor's of Science, a Bachelor of Business Administration, or a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. Now, as we continue to the next slide, you'll see some statistics, and you'll see that Emory University is home to an incredibly diverse group of talented students from around the world. The Emory community includes students from all 50 states and over 100 countries. In fact, about 15% of our student community and our student body are international students. And as a territory manager for Latin America, I am so proud to see students from all over the world. Now, as you're crossing the quad, you might hear over 60 unique first languages that are spoken on our campus. We're also home to over 40 religious communities. Now, as we continue to look at the next slide, you'll see that students at Emory experience a sense of community and faculty engagement of a liberal arts college, while also benefiting from the resources and the opportunities of one of the world's top research universities. 100% of majors offer research opportunities, and over half of Emory students are engaged in some kind of academic research. Interdisciplinary research allows Emory students to combine their specific areas of study with their varied passions. So, for example, we've had students that have been double majors in women's, gender, and sexuality studies, as well as human health, and have done research on how certain plant medicine may combat hemorrhaging during childbirth. We have students who are double majors in music and psychology and have done research on how music creates and shapes identity. We have students who've been interested in engineering and computer science and environmental sciences and have done research with our professor in our environmental sciences department, Dr. Irai Sakawa, and they've done research to create an early warning detection system for high levels of air pollution, and it was tested in Nepal. Right. And so research is at the core of who we are here as a research university. Now, outside of research, if you move on to the next slide, you'll also see that Emory becomes your home by engaging with our campus community, whether through research, studying abroad, through our 440 student clubs, our sports teams, our performing arts groups. There's so much for you to get to explore. Whether you're interested in volunteering, doing club sports, the arts, there truly is something for everyone here at Emory. In fact, the Emory Eagles here, we have 19 varsity teams, we have 30 club sports, and over 15 intramural teams for you to join. If you're interested in the arts, we also have our very own Carlos Museum on campus, which is free to all Emory students. If you're interested in music, Grammy-winning producer Jermaine Dupri's internship program at So Def record label has space for Emory University students. We have a partnership with them. In fact, we currently have 4 Emory University students working with Jermaine Dupri. We also are very, very big into service and to giving back. And in fact, about 80% of our students do continuous service all 4 years of their Emory experience. And that's not it, right? We also have traditions that make us who we are. And so, for example, we have Dooley's Week, and Dooley is our unofficial mascot. He is the Lord of Misrule. And for an entire week in the spring, we take part in his birthday celebration, and we have a lot of revelry. We have concerts. We sometimes have a prank or two, or even a petting zoo. So there's always so much fun to have here on campus. Now, as I wrap up with our next slide, I want to talk about the fact that here at Emory, as much as our students love being at Emory, they are also actively preparing for what is coming next. And so one of the reasons our students love being at Emory is the wide variety of resources and opportunities that students can leverage to prepare for whatever comes next. And so at Emory, we have a student flourishing initiative that centers around 4 dimensions of the student journey. That's academic, community, professional, and purpose. And so through our different initiatives here at Emory University, we're mobilizing alumni in innovative and effective ways, really focusing on our career center, our Center for Pathways and Purpose, and our Office for Professional and Career Development to really empower our students to make meaningful career choices that are aligned with their values, right? To pursue meaningful work and use their experiences and backgrounds and voices to act as change agents in the modern workplace. And so at Emory, we've also had the opportunity to work with our alums that have been industry leaders to create opportunities that really include experiential learning. Those include opportunities for career treks that we have done in, for example, New York City and LA. It also includes opportunities such as our sophomore summit retreat, which is open to all students, regardless of the campus in which they begin their Emory undergraduate experience. And then also an opportunity for our students to be engaged within our Pathways Scholars Program, which is an 8-week internship opportunity, 8-week internship opportunities with companies in designated host cities. And so here at Emory, it's not just about connecting with your undergraduate experience only during your 4 years at Emory, but really thinking about going above and beyond to really connecting with our greater community of over 45,000 Emory alumni in Atlanta and over 165,000 globally that will help you get your foot in the door for whatever comes next. So that being said, I want to thank you so much for the time spent listening to us and to our institutions. I encourage you to visit campus in person, to chat with current students, and to learn more about us to decide if you want to make Emory your college home. We hope that you do. But that being said, I'm going to pass it on to our next presenter.
There we go. Hi, you all. My name is Andy. I am an admissions officer here at Pomona College. So Pomona is a strictly undergraduate college located in Los Angeles County. We are about 34 miles away from the city of Los Angeles itself. We're actually a 45 to 55-minute drive from downtown and Hollywood. I live in Hollywood, so that's pretty cool. I commute to and from the office every day from there. It's a really great place to be. We get over 300 days of sunshine, except for today. John from Cornell and I changed weather patterns. It's raining here today, but it's very much needed. And something that is unique to Pomona compared to, the other universities and colleges that my colleagues work for is that, as I mentioned, we are strictly undergraduate. And so that means that there are no graduate students here at the college. All the opportunities that you are given as a student here, they will always be for undergraduate students. And kind of zooming back into our location in Claremont, California, we are classified or referred to as the city of trees and PhDs. And I say that because if you go to the next slide, you will see that Pomona is actually a part of the 5 Claremont colleges, the Claremont College Consortium, the 5 Cs, that's what they're referred to as. And they are a group of strictly undergraduate colleges who were intentionally founded in order to feed off of one another. So the Claremont Consortium, it is the first intentionally founded consortium in the country. There are others out there, of course, but we were intentionally founded to feed off of one another. So we share resources such as libraries. Pomona and Pitzer compete together to form the Pomona Pitzer Sage Hens. We compete in athletics together. We also share dining halls, which is pretty amazing. So Pomona has 2 dining halls on its campus, but consortium-wide, there's actually 7 dining halls that all of our students get access to. So Pomona was the very first founding member of the Claremont colleges. We were founded in order to bring that liberal arts college experience that you typically would maybe find in the Northeast to Southern California. We are the biggest in terms of student body size, but we're also the biggest in terms of sheer acreage, as I'm sure that you can see. But something that's unique to the colleges is that they were all founded in a specific moment in time. So after Pomona was founded, Scripps was founded. It was founded as the all-women's college. It's still an all-women's college today. After Scripps was founded, then came Claremont McKenna. It was founded in order to educate men who were coming back from World War II. And then after Claremont McKenna, Harvey Mudd came next. It is the smallest, but it's very mighty. Its main emphases are kind of on STEM. It was founded in the wake of the space race. And then last but not least came Pitzer. officer, and it was founded in the wake of the social justice movements of the 60s. And its main emphases are on social responsibility, social justice, as well as environmental sustainability today. Although we are in a consortium, our application processes are completely different. And so I like to say if you are someone who really does want that very well-rounded liberal arts education, then maybe Pomona would be the best fit for you, right? But also if you're someone who really values that kind of like pointy liberal arts education in STEM, perhaps, right? Then maybe Harvey Mudd would be the best for you. So kind of just figuring that out. And then in terms of academic life, as you will see on the next slide, we do have around 1,700 students, but for 1,700 students, we actually offer 48 majors. Some students say we offer 47 plus 1 majors. 47 is Pomona's lucky number. But 48 majors for a student body of 1,700 is actually quite a lot. I went to a liberal arts college that was about the exact same size as Pomona, and I only had 25 majors to choose from. So 48 is definitely up there. We do have a 7-to-1 student to faculty ratio, and then an average class size here is around 13 students. A big class size at Pomona would be around 30. I've never heard more than that, but it won't be something like 300 or 400 like you would find at like a really big research university, right? The professors here, they're going to know your name and they're going to know your face, and they really value building those relationships with you. Now, on the flip side, they're going to know your name and they're going to know your face. And so if you miss class, they definitely will know and they will talk to you about it. They will question you about it, but they love doing that. Your professors here teach at a liberal arts college because, as I mentioned, they really want to build those close relationships with you and offer you opportunities that you might not be able to find at a research university. So kind of going into the way that our student body looks at Pomona on the next slide, you can see that we do have students from all 50 states as well as a few US territories. And then we have over 65 countries represented in our student body, which is pretty amazing for a student body of just 1,700 students, right? 93% of our students do graduate within 6 years. And then something that we're extremely proud of is that 1 in 5 of our students are actually first generation. They're the first members of their family to ever receive a college education. And so that's something that we value and we're really proud of here. And then 56% of our students do receive need-based aid. All of the financial aid that is offered here at Pomona is strictly need-based. We do not offer athletic scholarships and we do not offer merit scholarships. So it's strictly just need-based aid. We do meet 100% of demonstrated need for all of our admitted students. And then for domestic students specifically, we actually read need blind. So your ability to pay for an education is not considered whenever we're basing a decision on your application. And then actually for all of our admitted students here at Pomona, we meet 100% of demonstrated need without the inclusion of loans in your financial aid package. We have the philosophy that you should not be going into debt for your education, right? And so we're very humbled to be able to do that for our students. All of the financial aid that you would potentially receive in your package would be grant money, which does not need to be repaid. And then it would maybe compose a work study requirement if you qualify for that. Kind of going into the opportunities that you have as a Pomona student. We do have the Pomona College Internship Program, PSIP, which is whereby if you find an internship that may be unpaid or underpaid, Pomona will fund you for the duration of that internship. 75% of our students in any given year do complete an internship. And kind of going back to our location in Los Angeles County, our very close connection to Los Angeles, the city itself, a lot of our students end up finding internships through the city. The city, not sure if you all are kind of up to date on population statistics, but the city of Los Angeles itself is around 3.5 million, and then the county is around 10 million people. So the opportunities for internships are really endless. And then in terms of research, right? So a lot of our students will do the summer undergraduate research program, also referred to as SERP, and that's whereby you're paired with a professor, typically over the summer, who has similar research interests to you. You get paid a stipend for living and food expenses. And you essentially kind of build that portfolio for graduate school if that's something that you're interested in, for medical school, for law school, even if that's something that you're interested in, to showcase the kind of research that you've been doing as an undergraduate student. And yes, 62% of our students, by the time that they graduate from Pomona, actually do participate in some form of research with a faculty member. Now, in terms of after Pomona, right? The employers are always recruiting on campus. In fact, around over 350 are actually engaged in on-campus recruiting. And our top employers include Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Meta, but they're also including things such as Teach for America. So some of our students are going into service work as well. If you've ever heard of Jennifer Doudna, if you've ever heard of CRISPR, she is an alum of Pomona. I bring that up because she won the Nobel Prize for chemistry, which was really amazing. And I recently read an article about the gene editing tool that she co-discovered. A baby in Philadelphia was recently the first person in the world to be cured of the genetic disorder that he was born with through or with the help of CRISPR. So that's something that's really amazing that I love to touch on. The other statistic that I like to touch on is that around 2/3 of our students are actually choosing to pursue a graduate education within 10 years of graduating from Pomona. And that's really special to us because that essentially means that our students are lifelong learners, right? They're very insatiably curious about so many things. And so they're kind of taking their education to the next level by pursuing that graduate education. That's about all I have for you. Thank you so much for coming and listening. If you would like to connect with the admissions office, you can do it in a couple of ways via our website. You can also email us at admissions@pomona.edu. We're pretty cool and hip, so if you want to connect with us on Instagram as well, feel free to do that at Pomona Admissions. And then something that we just started back up is our student blog, so sagechinstories.pomona.edu, where students talk about their experience here at the college. But with that, I will now hand it over to Aaron.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy. So again, my name is Aaron Mandel. I'm an associate director at Rice University. And on the next slide, we'll showcase more about our home in Houston, Texas. So Houston, Texas is the fourth largest city in the US. It's also the most culturally and ethnically diverse cities in the US, which is an integral part of the Rice experience. At Rice, you meet people from all backgrounds, and you do that beyond the hedges as well within the Houston community. Houston has unparalleled access to internships in energy, medicine with the Texas Medical Center, space with NASA, and many startups, which provide students with internship, shadowing, clinicals. All the experiential learning can be found within our backyard. Houston is also a very affordable and student-friendly city with year-round events. I love the Houston Rodeo, which is a huge month-long rodeo hosted at the football stadium here. I also love the Art Car Parade, which kind of shows some of the quirkiness and unique traditions that exist within Houston that Rice students can take a part of. And like I mentioned, Houston is also home to the Texas Medical Center, which is the world's largest medical center complex. It's right across the street from Rice, which provides students unparalleled access to research with some of the world's leading healthcare companies. And we also have NASA and the third largest concentration of Fortune 500 companies within the US. And on the next slide, I'll talk more about academics at Rice. And in addition to that wealth of opportunities that exist outside of the hedges in Houston, within the hedges at Rice, we are home to 7 schools of study: architecture, business, engineering, humanities, music, natural sciences, and social sciences. We're home to about 4,500 undergraduate students with a 6-to-1 student to faculty ratio. The Rice experience is very personal and impactful, and that's lived out within the small class settings. We're home to over 50 different majors across these 7 undergraduate schools of study, and we have 45 different research centers on campus, ranging from STEM focused, but also research centers for our social science students with the Baker Institute, which is one of the world's largest nonpartisan think tanks. We have research opportunities for students who are interested in the arts with the Houston Art District right in our backyard. So our research opportunities are not only accessible for STEM students, but are encouraged for students across all disciplines. The Rice academics experience is also marked by our flexible distribution system. which is a little bit more flexible, as the name implies, than a core curriculum and allows students to take classes across these schools of study to gain a broad range of skills and explore those interests that you might have. And on the next slide, we'll talk a little bit more about some of those student life components that go hand in hand with the research and academics at Rice. So student life at Rice is really built around time-honored traditions, some as old as the campus itself, but a lot of them are new as well, and they're all built within the residential college system. The residential college system is core to the Rice experience. You can think about it like Harry Potter housing system. Each student is randomly sorted into one of 11 residential colleges, and that becomes your identity as a Rice student. It's also the hub of your student life. Many events take place within residential colleges, and you're not restricted to the events solely at your residential college. So there really is a lively campus spirit that exists beyond the residential colleges, and a lot of that is based in our athletics. Rice is home to 14 NCAA Division I athletic teams. We also have over 50 clubs and intramurals. We have the President's Cup, which is a yearly tradition between the 11 residential colleges to see who comes out on top. And we also have a lot of recognition for our interaction between students of different backgrounds. Next slide, please. And then, of course, life after Rice. In addition to those wealth of opportunities and internships and research that you have as a student, Rice provides a lot of support and opportunities for you post-graduation for you to explore and go beyond the hedges. So most of our students are either employed or pursuing grad school within 6 months of graduation. We have a global alumni network that spans not just Houston, not just the US, but globally, with placements in top medical schools, top law schools, and top grad schools. And strong placements not only within Houston within energy and finance and healthcare, but across the globe within consulting, tech, finance, as well as public service, the arts, and more. And then lastly, I would be missing a lot if I didn't mention how students are able to afford this wealth of opportunities that I've just described to you at Rice. So Rice is very proud to offer the Rice Investment, which you can see is generous need-based financial aid that is all grant money that students can expect to receive based off of your family income and typical assets. And even for students who do not fall within one of these three income brackets, we still meet 100% of demonstrated need for all students. And for our international students, we are need aware, but we do still meet 100% of your demonstrated need. So that goes beyond just domestic students and just showcases the commitment that Rice has to maintaining its affordability. Next slide. And then lastly, we love to hear from you. So please stay connected with us. I've been answering a lot of your questions in the chat, but if I don't get to your questions, please email us. You can connect with your specific admissions counselor. I'm the admissions counselor for Southern California, as well as all of Latin America and the Caribbean. So I love to hear from you. I've had some questions from people I've met on travel in Panama. So I truly love to hear from all of you, and we encourage you to reach out to me and also your specific territory manager. And with that, I will pass it off to WashU.
Great. Thanks, Aaron. And hello again, everyone. For everyone who joined a little bit later and didn't get to see me earlier, my name is John. I use he, him pronouns, Senior Assistant Director at WashU, or Washington University in St. Louis. I'd like to start with the basics about who we are. We are a medium-sized private research institution right in the heart of the country. We tried to make it as clear as possible. We are not in the state of Washington. We are not in Washington, D.C. We are in that secret third location of St. Louis, Missouri. And on the next slide, as you'll see, our students are joining us from all over the country, all over the world, bringing in their unique backgrounds and experiences. Because just as much as you will learn from your professor and the people who are at the front of your classroom, you're going to learn from those who are around you. This comes through in our residential experience. All of our students live on campus their first 2 years, but we don't place you based on your interests or your majors. Your roommate, your floor mates often are going to have very different academic interests coming from different parts of the country or the world, because we know that by the time you're getting into those classroom spaces, you're going to be engaging with those students who have those similar academic goals or interests that you do. With just over 7,500 students, we very much are the best of both worlds in terms of that size, because you'll see many familiar faces from day to day, but you're never going to run out of new people that you can meet. And with that geographic diversity that our students are bringing in comes a whole slew of other types of diversity that can really boils down to that diversity of experience. And this does come through in the academic programs that we have to offer. Our next slide will show the way that the university is broken down into our academic divisions. Across the university as a whole, our average class size is about 25 with a 7-to-1 student-teacher ratio. And when you're applying to WashU, you can list a major or two, but the bigger question is, which of our 5 academic divisions are you interested in? And I'm going to go in reverse size order. Starting with our 2 intentionally small divisions, our College of Art and our College of Architecture make up the Sam Fox School of Design and Visual Arts. If you were to cut that average class size and that student-teacher ratio in half, that's going to generally give you what you're going to find in Sam Fox. Very close student-teacher relationships and interactions. Students in the art school will have their own studio space all 4 years, and architecture students, students in the architecture program will have that place there all 4 years. Students in the art program will get their own studio space a little bit later on, but you will share it in that first year. Taking a step up in size from those 2 divisions is the Olin Business School, right there in the middle in terms of size. Like all of our programs, Olin is direct entry, so you will take those classes as soon as you arrive. You don't need to reapply into the business school. And like all of our programs, there is study abroad available, and the Olin Business School has a global mindset requirement, and many of their students are studying abroad to complete that requirement. This most recent graduating class, about 85% of the graduates studied abroad at some point during their 4 years. Our second largest division is the McKelvey School of Engineering. This is where you will find our various engineering programs, and for us, McKelvey is where you're going to find computer science. Computer science is one of our top programs between students majoring in it, minoring in it, taking classes in it, finding new and unique ways to weave that into their existing curricula. And then that takes me to the College of Arts and Sciences, where you'll find about 2/3 of WashU students. The College of Arts and Sciences covers everything from the natural sciences, the social sciences, and the humanities. And every single student at WashU will take classes in arts and sciences. And the only class that all of our students will take is generally referred to as college writing. Beyond that, your requirements may come from your division or your specific major, but not having a set of general education requirements that are university-wide provides a lot of academic flexibility. We generally find that 2/3 of our students are pursuing an additional major, sometimes an additional minor. You can pursue up to 2 majors and a minor, and they could be in 3 completely different academic areas. We don't want you to feel that you are being placed in a box, and we want you to pursue all of those different academic opportunities that you are looking for. Our next slide will also show the ways that our students are growing outside of the 4 walls of the classroom. So as a research institution, there is research happening in every corner of campus. You can start doing that research as early as your first year, your first semester, and you can use our Office of Undergraduate Research if you're not quite sure where to begin in that process. As I alluded to on the last slide, every single major has a study abroad opportunities. No matter what you're studying, you can study abroad, and your financial aid will also travel with you. Whatever you pay to attend WashU is what you would pay to study abroad should you choose to study abroad during that academic school year. For our students who are more entrepreneurial minded, programs such as STEP, the Student Entrepreneurial Program run by the Scandalaria Center for Interdisciplinary Innovation and Entrepreneurship, is a really cool opportunity for students to start and run their own business on campus. We have about 11 physical storefronts in our residential area, and these are fully student-run businesses. Some of our newer ones, we have a sneaker shop, we have a ice cream store, and one of our more longer lasting ones is called the Berry Sweet Shop, a pay by the pound candy store. Terrible for my teeth, really cool opportunity for our students. Our students are also getting involved in the community through the Gephardt Center or the Gephardt Institute for Civic and Community Engagement through their Civic Scholars Program, through offices like the Bauer Leaders Academy and their new leadership opportunities. There are countless ways for students to grow outside of that classroom experience. Our students are also exploring all their interests extracurricularly. You'd be hard-pressed not to find something that aligns with some of your interests. There are over 450 active student groups on our campus, and while I can't name all of them, they typically fall into a couple of main categories, such as service, which makes up about 40% of those groups. Athletically, we are Division III with 27 national titles, our latest one being women's tennis about 2 weeks ago. We also have club and intramural options. You'll find different niche interest groups, various media and literature-based groups, sorority and fraternity life. And then, of course, those different affinity and identity-based groups. We are a community of community, and we want our students to find those students who have shared values, backgrounds, and experiences. Our student groups often take charge of some of WashU's larger traditions as well. Things like Black Anthology, things like 13 Carnival, which is one of the oldest continuously operating student-run carnivals in the country, takes place every spring. Or Wild, our annual concert series on the last day of classes. This past April, we ended the semester with a performance from Flowrida, opened by Mustard. So it was a really cool opportunity for our students to really decompress at the end of that semester. And then on the next slide, we want to make sure that you're set up for success well after your time at WashU. Our Center for Career Engagement will meet you wherever you're at in that process through one-on-one advising. That could be cover letter editing, resume assistance, hundreds of recruiters for internships and career fairs every single year, or more unique programs like our career communities, where you will opt in to different career interest areas to learn more about those opportunities, to bear treks, where you can go to a different city across the country to meet with members of a specific industry. And they're a lifelong resource. If you want to switch gears in 25 years for a new career, give them a call, send them an email. They are always happy to help. And then, of course, I can't talk about WashU without talking about St. Louis. The next slide will show us a couple of photos from around the St. Louis region. Our campus sits right on the border of St. Louis City and St. Louis County, about 7 miles from downtown St. Louis, about 7 miles from the Arch. I live downtown. My building is in this photo. I walked past the Arch at lunch today. And it takes me 15 minutes to get to campus. I take the train, of which there are 2 train stops on campus, and everyone receives a free Metro pass. So if you want to head downtown to catch a Cardinals baseball game, Blues hockey, or City SC soccer, maybe you want to walk on up to the Del Mar Loop, essentially our college town just north of campus. You can take the train to the other side of Forest Park, which is one of the largest urban parks in the country. On the other side of the park, you're going to find WashU's medical school if you want to do research or shadow or get involved over there. And then, of course, having that park right across the street from us, our own backyard, the wonderful Forest Park, home to the Art Museum, the History Museum, the Science Center, and the zoo, all of which are not only incredible institutions and cultural locations in St. Louis, but they're also free for anyone who wants to enjoy them. So on the next slide, we'll have a little bit of contact information. We'd love for you to stay engaged, ask those questions, check out our website, see about the types of programs we have offered virtually and in person to come on out to St. Louis and check us out. But with that, I think it's going to take us over to the Q&A portion of our launch presentation this evening. So I'm going to go ahead and invite Lupe back on, and they are going to moderate our Q&A portion here. Lupe, you want to take it away?
Yes, of course. Thanks, John. Thanks, everyone. All right. So I just want to say, first of all, how amazing you all have been. There are so many questions in our Q&A box right now, truly. And kudos to Aaron, who has been answering quite a few of those. But truly, we are so thankful. We know that it requires a lot of effort and also sometimes a lot of bravery and courage to ask your questions. And so we are thankful for you taking the time to come and join us for our session and to ask the questions that are, again, pressing to you. With that being said, we're going to try to spend the remaining around 20 minutes or so answering the questions that are top of mind for you all. And like my colleagues have mentioned earlier, because there are so many of you all on this call, again, over 1,500 students, we will more than likely not be able to get to all of the questions, but please know that there are other methods for connecting with us, whether it's Instagram, like Pomona mentioned, or certain virtual opportunities we have on our websites or through our virtual programming. We hope that you'll continue to really interact with our universities and see this launch session as a starting point and maybe as an introduction into the university and not as the only touch point with us. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and kick us off. One of the questions that we've seen quite a bit here in our Q&A box is about SAT and ACT requirements. So I'm going to ask that each of us briefly just share our policies for the coming year in terms of our SAT and ACT requirements. I can go ahead and kick us off in saying that at Emory University, we will be test optional for the next cycle. And what we would encourage you to do is really talk with your high school, with your family, and really make that personal decision based on what's right for you. We do encourage, if you have AP exams or IB exam scores, if you have scores of 3s, 4s, and 5s on AP exams, to go ahead and submit those. And if you have scores of 5s, 6s, and 7s on IB exam scores, to submit that as well.
And I'm happy to go next. For Cornell, we are test required starting with this upcoming admissions cycle. So for any students applying to Cornell as a first-year applicant, we do require either the SAT or the ACT. If you do submit both, or if you've taken the SAT multiple times or the ACT multiple times, we will super score those tests to give you the strongest score in our eyes. But in order to be considered a complete applicant, in order to be reviewed at Cornell, it is required that you submit an SAT or an ACT for our institution as a first-year applicant.
Awesome, and I'll jump in next. So at Rice, we are testing recommended, which means that we just prefer to see those test scores if you have them available. You are evaluated in a holistic manner, so there's different factors that go into reviewing your test score, and students who do apply to test option are still given that same review.
I can go next. Backpedaling a little bit, I suppose. Pomona is actually permanently test optional. We want to give you the full autonomy of whether or not you want to choose to include your scores with your application. If you do choose to submit the SAT specifically, I believe they're changing it a little bit. We are still requiring like the reading, writing, if you do choose to submit them, but otherwise, no, we are permanently test optional.
And then that takes us to me, and we have a very similar policy taking us back to Emory. So WashU, we are going to remain test optional for the next cycle. So if you would like to submit testing, that would be considered as part of your application. But if it's not there, it's not there. So if you have any questions about our policy, please feel free to reach out to us. But we are going to remain test optional for the next cycle.
All right, so as we continue to our next question, again, we've seen this throughout our Q&A box, but I do see Cora here asked, regarding all universities, are there any summer internships and or research opportunities available?
So I'll kick this off and say that while we don't offer research opportunities for prospective students to participate in, research is offered as early as your first semester on campus and throughout all 4 years at Cornell. We do offer research in a number of different ways. You can do it individually or on your own, peer-to-peer with other students, or with faculty. And some faculty may put a call out, looking for students to participate in research with them. Or again, some students may reach out to faculty directly if they have a really great idea. And again, the best part about research at Cornell is if you have a great idea and let's say there's not research already happening at the institution for your particular subject, Cornell will actually fund that research if it's a viable idea. So again, our students are participating, in conferences, both domestic and international, and have done some incredible things, again, supported and funded by our Cornell Office of Undergraduate Research.
I can jump in here speaking for WashU. Of course, our current students have plenty of access to research and internship opportunities during the school year and during the summer through either our Office of Undergraduate Research or through our Center for Career Engagement. We do also have some some summer programs for high school students. So if you look up WashU high school summer programs, one of which is a Young Scientist program, which is a research internship opportunity for high school students. So if it might be too late for this summer, but if you're thinking for future summers, that may be an option for you.
Happy to go next. And as far as research, yes, you can absolutely do research at Emory during your undergraduate years. You can start as early as your first year on campus. You can also do research independently. You can do research over the summer once you're a student at Emory. And you can also do research with faculty. And so there are various ways for you to do research. And again, you can do research in 100% of all of our academic areas. We do also have a summer program for high school students that might be interested in learning more about our campus, and that is run through our pre-college program. So if y'all are interested, that's kind of something you can research. And then I will also mention, just a shameless plug, that at Emory, we do have what's called a required category requirement for you to be able to graduate from Emory, and that is an experiential learning requirement. And so all of our students have to either study abroad, do research, participate in an internship, do shadowing, do some sort of experiential learning opportunity or experience in order to graduate from Emory.
I will echo a lot of what has already been said. As my fellow peers have said, as a R1 institution, research is encouraged and highly accessible. There's a lot of summer programs for you to kind of dip your toes into that, whether it's at Rice or other universities. But yes, research is an integral part of the Rice experience.
Yes, and last but not least, me as the liberal arts college kind of person. Research at Pomona, it is an integral part of the experience. I'll echo what Aaron said. Our students are always doing research. We just actually had a meeting with the physics department. I left wanting to be a physics major, but they always have research going on. It spans across STEM, social sciences, humanities. There's no class cutoff, so even if you're a first year at the institution, you still have the exact same opportunity to do research as someone who may be like in their first semester of their fourth year, right? So it's a very integral part of the experience here. And yes, there's always research going on here.
All right, so as we move on to our next question, and again, y'all, thank you so much for all the questions that you all are submitting. There are a plethora of questions for us to choose from, so thank you for your engagement. There's been a few questions here that ask about affordability and just accessibility and the types of opportunities that we offer for both merit-based scholarships and also need-based aid. So again, I'm going to have all of us just speak a little bit about the opportunities that are available, and maybe if we can also answer it for domestic and international students.
I can go first with this one. So a couple of things to know about WashU's financial aid. So we do meet 100% of that demonstrated need, as was mentioned earlier, for all of our institutions. For our domestic applicants, we are also need blind in our process. And so we're not going to be aware of whether or not you're applying for aid. We are need aware for our international population. And for all of our students, regardless of citizenship status, we are a no-loan institution. So our financial aid packages do not include loans automatically. If you qualify for a loan, we would replace that with a grant from the university instead. And while most of our financial aid does come through the form of our need-based financial assistance, we do have a small number of merit scholarships. Typically between 5 and 10% of our incoming students will receive one of those scholarships, some of which are automatic consideration that are more academically focused. And then we do have 3 application-based programs, the Danforth, Irvin, and Rodriguez Scholar programs. So if you're interested in learning more, reach out to us and we're happy to share that information.
I'll jump in. A good majority is the same for Rice as it is for WashU. I think the big difference is that we don't have any deadlines or specific scholarship applications. Every student is automatically considered for merit-based aid, and about 20% of students will receive merit-based aid. They range from a few thousand to full tuition, and they're generally awarded for things like research, top academics, community building, advocacy, but it really ranges and it differs student per student.
I'm happy to go next. So just talking about Cornell and our financial aid process. So similar to WashU, we are need aware for international applicants in the financial aid process. We are need blind for domestic applicants. We do not offer any merit-based scholarships of any kind for academic, athletic, or extracurricular success of any kind. So again, all of our financial aid is going to be need-based, but we do meet 100% of a student's demonstrated financial need for the entirety of their time at Cornell. So again, for domestic applicants, you would apply each year for that aid, and if circumstances change for better or for worse, right, your financial aid would also reflect that. And the best thing I always recommend, especially I know we've talked about this already, but please use our financial aid calculator tools on our websites, right? Because each school is going to be a little different, right? Cornell being no different, right? In the sense of our package may look a little different for you than it might at one of the other institutions. So please, again, if I can plug that, as John so eloquently talked about earlier in the program, please use those financial aid calculator tools, because those will be probably the best thing for you as you kind of consider your financial options, at each of our institutions.
And then I can go next as far as need-based aid and merit-based scholarships at Emory. We do have a scholarships deadline, and that is November 15th of your senior year. And so if you are interested in being considered for any and all of our merit-based scholarships, which cover everything from partial tuition to full tuition, room and board, then you must submit your application in by November 15th of your senior year. And on the Emory page of the Common Application, it's going to ask you whether or not you wish to be considered for the Emory University Woodruff Scholars Program. As long as you select yes, that is all you have to do. So there's no additional essay, there's no additional letter of recommendation that's required. We're trying to make it as barrier-free as possible, at the same time giving us as admission counselors enough time to review your application for consideration for those merit-based scholarships. As far as the scholarships go, they are open to all of our students, both domestic and international students. For our need-based financial aid, we do meet 100% of demonstrated need for our domestic students. We do offer need-based aid for our international students, but in full transparency, it is going to be limited. And so we do encourage that any international student that applies to Emory that knows that they will require financial support, we encourage students to apply to our Emory University Woodruff Scholars Program, because then that is giving us the opportunity to possibly give you both need-based financial aid as well as merit-based aid. And at Emory, again, those are 2 different pathways.
Yeah, and then I'll jump in. I mentioned it a little bit in my little 5 to 7-minute presentation. Yeah, Pomona is need blind for domestic students. We are need aware for international students. But for Pomona, we are need blind for domestic students. We meet 100% of demonstrated need without the inclusion of loans and financial aid packages. All of the financial aid here is strictly need-based, so we don't offer merit or athletic scholarships. But yes, we meet 100% of demonstrated need without the inclusion of loans for all of our admitted students, domestic or international. So.
And I do see here, just real quick before we move on to the next question, Ryan here in our Q&A asked, are U.S. passport holders outside of the U.S. So if you're a U.S. passport holder and you're studying outside of the U.S., are you considered a domestic student or an international student? For Emory, if you are a U.S. citizen or have a U.S. permanent residency, then you are considered a domestic student. So even if you're studying abroad, as far as need-based aid is considered, you will be reviewed under a domestic student application.
That would be the same for Cornell.
I'm seeing the nods in case you all don't see it. John, Andy, and Aaron. So WashU, Pomona, and Rice all are the same. All right, well, we are going to move on to our next question. Again, y'all are doing awesome. Keep the questions coming. So this next question, and again, I'm going to try to just summarize it because we've been seeing it so often in our Q&A box, but quite a few of you have been asking about how to best shine, right, in the application. What are any tips or tricks for how to stand out in this application process, given that all of our institutions are highly selective? And so I'm going to ask that each of us, again, just share some tips or some nuggets of wisdom here as our students work on submitting their application.
I can jump in first. So for every single applicant who applies to Pomona, something that's specific to our institution, we evaluate you based on what we refer to as our valued qualities. I can link them in the chat. And that's for every single applicant who is applying to Pomona. You do not have to have evidence of all 5 in order to be admitted to Pomona. The only one that you need in order to be admitted is intellectual capability and academic commitment. And I say that we require that one because we want to set you up for academic success rather than academic struggle. And so we really do want to know that you'll thrive here academically at the institution. But something that I don't think is unique to Pomona itself, that I think is actually unique, or not even maybe unique, but specific to all of our institutions, is that the one thing that we all really value is authenticity throughout the application process. You are going to show up to one of our campuses, maybe none of our campus, but you're going to show up to a college campus your entire self, right? And so throughout the application process, we really want to see that shine, because that's going to how you're going to show up to our campus. And so that's kind of what we want to see throughout the application process.
I can go next. I want to build on that authenticity piece a little bit. This is advice I give to students that are often asking me how to approach their essay, but I think this is something to think about for your entire application. It can be really hard to reflect, especially as a 16 or 17-year-old. And it's okay to ask others for help. It is okay to ask your friends and your family, hey, what are some things about me that you think are really important, that you want to make sure that I highlight in a college application, that you think colleges should know about me? Because yes, the way that we view ourselves is very important, but sometimes getting those external thoughts and ideas may clue you into something that you hadn't even started thinking about yet. Or maybe you wouldn't have thought about that at all if your friend hadn't said, you know, I really love the way that you can always make me laugh in a situation. So asking those questions may not be the easiest thing to do, but it really can be beneficial, both for a college application, but also for any sort of reflection that you are trying to do on yourself.
Yeah, and you know, that authenticity piece, right, is a huge piece. I think that we all probably agree on is a big piece that we consider. I know when I talk about this tip, right, directly to students through the application process, is also really talking about the fit within our institution. I think that shows the research and time and effort that you put into looking at whichever institutions you're applying to, and that's going to shine through in your application pretty quickly for us versus if you did a 30-second Google search before you submit that app, or if you did months of research to figure out which college or school is really a good fit. I know when I speak about Cornell specifically, you know, I talk about what do you want to take advantage of that we offer that maybe no one else does, and how do you plan to take advantage of it during the 4 years you're here. Too often we hear students that are like, well, I want to do X, Y, Z with my degree. And that's great, right? But I think all of us can agree that we hope you do exceptional things with your degree. But what do you want to take advantage of during those 4 years that we have you on our campus? Is there a faculty member? Is there a class? Is there a lab? Is there a student club? Whatever it might be, right? That's for you to tell us. I think that's such an integral piece of the application process, because it shows us that you put in the time and effort to really look into that fit component. And with all of our application process being very competitive, those are the things that help kind of sort out those students that really can, take the student to the next level in the review process.
I would say, again, echo everything that everyone has already said. I would say two maybe more practical tips, or more kind of tangible tips, I would say, are be mindful of who you ask to write your letters of recommendation. A lot of the times our students might ask, or applicants might ask a teacher to write them a letter of recommendation if they've earned an A in the class. And that's great. However, if the only thing that teacher can say is, Lupe came to class on time every day, she submitted her homework on time, she got an A in all the exams, she's a good student, that's not going to give us as admission counselors enough information to really grab onto, to really have a hook as to why we should admit you as a student and how you would thrive in conversations or research with our faculty, right? Or even just in a classroom setting with your classmates. And so sometimes it's not necessarily about asking the professor in which you got an A in the class. It's more so about making sure that you're asking the professor that really knows you. Maybe it's a professor that you've had English with all 4 years and they've seen your growth in the class. Or maybe it's someone who is sort of an informal mentor to you. Or maybe it's a professor that saw you struggle in an academic subject and really saw you kind of dig deep, go to, those tutoring sessions, you went to ask the professor for help, and you ended up with an A- in the class or B+ in the class. And they can talk about your resilience and your grit and your determination, right? So I would say just be mindful about kind of who you're asking to write your letters of recommendation, because ultimately sometimes those can really impact the way that we see you. I would say the other piece is thinking about how to best highlight your leadership in your extracurricular activities. I think a lot of times students may think of leadership in a very specific setting, which is, do I have a leadership title? Am I a president of something? Am I treasurer of something? And remember that leadership doesn't always come with a formal title. And so how are you being a leader in your classroom, in your communities, in your family? Are you working a part-time job? Are you doing research? Do you have family responsibilities, right? How are you being a leader in all that you do outside of the classroom? Because ultimately that's going to help us as counselors assess your potential for community fit on our campuses.
I think my colleagues put it perfectly across their variety of expertise. I echo all of it.
Amazing. All right. Well, there was so many questions that I wanted to get to, but I know that we only have 3 minutes left. And so with that being said, I do want to go ahead and just ask our each of us here on the call to just address what are some of the ways that students and families can continue to connect with us, because we know that, again, having so many students on the call, we weren't able to get to all of the questions. We hope we picked some of those questions that really got to the nuances in the application process and the questions that mattered to the most of you. But in case we didn't, or in case there's just more, right? Like I said earlier, this is a starting point to engage with us, not the only point. So I'm going to have each of us just talk a little bit more about either virtual or on-campus visit opportunities, maybe fly-in program opportunities. I know that was the question in the chat as well, and maybe where to find them.
I can go because I think everyone's frantically trying to type email addresses in the chat to share with everyone right now. But WashU does offer visits every week, Monday through Friday. So if you go to our website, you can find more information about what those visits entail. Throughout the summer, we also offer what we call different academic theme days, which are half-day to three-quarter-day long events that allow you to go a little bit more in depth into different opportunities. And if you are not able to get to campus, we do offer one virtual information session each month. Again, you can find that on our website. And so please feel free to stay engaged. And then, of course, myself and my colleagues, and I'm sure those of us on this call will be traveling a lot this fall throughout the country, probably throughout the world. And so keep an eye on your email for any time that we are in your area or at your high school.
And I would say for Cornell, our summer visits will be kicking up starting on June 9th. So right around the corner here. Tours are offered just about every day, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And again, you can find all that information on our visit website. We also have some college and school specific information sessions offered on campus, select dates throughout the summer. But if you're unable to come to campus, one of the great things we have, obviously, just like everyone else, is an incredible virtual visit website. On that website, right, we have our college and school information sessions pre-recorded for you to watch. We've got some great student profiles of current or just recently graduated Cornellians, and day in the life of kind of what their life looks like, and just more information in general about our individual colleges and schools. So, if you get a chance, please check that out. It's a really great resource, again, whether you're able to visit campus or not. Tremendously, great stuff on there for you to take a look at when you get a chance.
I will go. Sorry, Aaron. Yes, Pomona, we started our summer tours. We have them every single day, Monday through Friday. They're usually 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Come and meet us. We love visitors. Our students love visitors. We'd be happy to give you an information session and a tour. If you would like to participate in a fly-in program, Pomona just opened its application up for that. It's called Perspectives on Pomona. The application is due in August. It's just a way for you to potentially get familiar with Pomona for students who participate in the on-campus program. We do fly you out here to kind of get a view of what it's like to be a student here, but we also offer 2 virtual programs, 2 POP programs as well. So yeah.
For Emory, we just launched our flying program application, which is our Emory Leads experience. Its deadline is August 1st. Feel free to, again, look up the link that I sent in the chat for Emory Leads experience. We also have an awesome platform called Welcome to College. It's just emory.welcometocollege.com. And so if you want to talk to current Emory students, ask them about the majors that they're pursuing or what their experience has been with Greek life or studying abroad, you're welcome to email them directly via Welcome to College. We also do have a virtual tour of both of our campuses available on our website, as well as virtual programming and also live visit sessions in person and guided tours. So we're excited to hopefully continue the conversation with you all.
Awesome. And Rice offers in-person campus tours daily throughout the year. We also offer classroom samplers where you can sit in on a Rice classroom. There's a variety of virtual offerings that you can engage with, like my colleagues have mentioned, and there's webinars that you can request recordings of. I will say Rice does not track demonstrated interest, so these are things that you can take advantage of but are not considered. But we hope that you do engage with us via whatever method is accessible to you.
And just because, Aaron, you mentioned something important, which is demonstrated interest. Can I just have a quick show of hands? How many of you all do track demonstrated interest, just as our students are thinking about? Okay, great. So all of our 5 institutions do not track demonstrated interest. So just echoing what Aaron has said, we know that you all are busy. You all are trying to get into your summer plans. Maybe you're reading books, you're getting prepared for the new year. And so please do not feel pressured into sending us emails. But if you have questions, we are happy to address them. With that being said, we want to thank you truly for joining us for our launch session on behalf of Emory University, Cornell University, Washington University in St. Louis, Pomona, and Rice University. We truly thank you for spending the time with us here in our launch program. We wish you all a wonderful rest of your evening or your day, wherever you are joining us from, and we look forward to staying in touch. Thanks, everybody.